Today, we're going to look at the story behind a simple idea. An idea that, almost without us even noticing, managed to rewire how we think, how we feel, and how we behave online.
Just take a second. How many times have you pressed it today? Or this week? Think about that simple, almost unconscious little action.
It's not a real button, of course. It has no texture, no weight, it doesn't click or spring back. It's really just an illusion.
Just a tiny symbol made of pixels. And yet, it holds this incredible amount of power over us.
I mean, this little symbol influences our choices, our emotions. It even shapes our sense of self-worth in the digital world. So yeah, we're not just talking about some feature on an app. We're talking about an idea, a concept so small it literally changed the nature of human approval.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. To really understand the like button, you have to remember what the internet was like before it existed. And honestly, it was a lot noisier. Back then, if you appreciated something that someone shared, you actually had to say it. You had to type out a comment, you had to send a message. Approval, it required real effort. But here's the thing. As social media platforms just exploded in size, this created a huge bottleneck. I mean, with millions of posts flying by every single minute, the effort of typing a comment was just too slow. They needed a way more efficient way to measure engagement.
And that brings us to the birth of the solution, a simple, elegant, and as it turns out, a world-changing idea.
Over at Facebook, engineers were debating this really risky question. Could you actually boil down a complex human emotion like approval into just one single click? It was a massive, massive simplification.
You know, what's really interesting is the path they didn't take. A dislike button was on the table, but it was rejected pretty quickly. They understood that negativity spreads so much faster than connection. So they chose something safe, something warm and positive, the like.
And that was its genius. It was completely frictionless. You didn't have to explain why you like something. You didn't have to commit to a whole conversation. It was the simplest possible gesture of acknowledgement. When it launched, almost nobody realized it would fundamentally change human behavior. Boy, were they wrong.
See, this simple click had a profound effect. And to understand why, we've got to look at what's happening inside our own heads.
Every single time you get a like, your brain gets this tiny little hit of a chemical called dopamine. Now, here's the crucial point. Dopamine isn't really the chemical of happiness or pleasure. It's the chemical of anticipation. It's about wanting, not having.
And that anticipation, well, that's what gets us hooked. Before we even post something, our brain is already asking this question, craving that potential reward.
And then the question evolves. It becomes about quantity. We start to measure our potential approval in numbers. Is this a 1-like post, a 10-like post, 100?
And finally, this incredibly powerful feedback loop completes itself. We start prejudging our own experiences based on how much digital approval we think they'll get. Over time, we didn't just use the platform, we began to unconsciously tailor our entire behavior for it. This whole psychological loop created a massive shift in how we use these platforms, taking us from a mode of simple expression to, well, something else entirely. Just think about it for a second. Social media started as a place to express what you were thinking or what you were doing, but it subtly became a place to perform. We started choosing our photos more carefully, softening our opinions, sharing moments not just because they mattered to us, but because we thought they were likely to be rewarded by other people. This all taps into a core psychological principle, social proof. We are wired to look to others to figure out what's normal and what's acceptable. The like button took this abstract idea and turned it into a hard, visible number. High numbers mean this matters, and low numbers, they mean this doesn't. So what's the bottom line here? The like button wasn't some evil invention. It was efficient. But that efficiency came with a really uncomfortable and often unseen trade-off. On the one hand, it gave us some powerful things. We get instant feedback. We can create connections with a simple tap. And for a lot of people, it provides a very real sense of being seen and acknowledged by their community. But on the other hand, it took things away, too. It took away depth, because a like can't possibly convey complex emotion. It took away nuance, because not everything in life is simply likable. And it took away silence, because not everything that's meaningful needs to be publicly validated.
So the next time your thumb hovers over that little button, just pause. Just for a second. Ask yourself this question. Is this a genuine, spontaneous reaction, or is it a behavior that has been subtly, efficiently, and powerfully trained into you?